Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever it is in the world you are joining us. Thank you so much for joining StriveScan's virtual college exploration program. This program is in partnership with the Colleges That Change Lives, and I have a few housekeeping items before we begin with today's session. First and foremost, you are encouraged to ask questions via the Q&A button that you see on your screen. When you submit a question, it gets sent to our panelist, and he will work to answer the question during the session and at the conclusion of the session. He may not get to every question during this session, so he'll also receive a transcript of all those questions if he didn't get to it during this 45-minute presentation. As a reminder, your camera and your microphone are turned off, so if you have any questions, make sure to type them in through that Q&A. This is one of 50 individual information sessions and panel presentations being run by the Colleges That Change Lives. Our programming runs
My sound is breaking up. Am I audible?
Yes, Hank, I can hear you.
Okay, you froze.
Oh no.
Yeah, after a certain point, I couldn't hear anything you said, and the image froze.
Got it.
I don't know what happened.
Well, I'll hand it over to you, Hank, to take over from here.
Thank you. Thanks, Doug. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to my session on Austin College. Delighted that we have a good group, and I would encourage you to ask questions. This is a 45-minute session. I guess now it's about a 43-minute session, and I hope to address questions often during this session, address them as we go along. So go ahead and ask questions. Don't be shy about that. Let me know if there is, if you're not getting, I'm having a little trouble now seeing my Q&A box. There it is, sorry. Let me know what questions you have. I'll endeavor to answer them as we go along. The length of this session, my presentation part, is fairly flexible, so I'll cover some things, but again, don't be afraid to interrupt me. Really appreciate your interest. So a little bit about how I got to be here talking to you. I'm the Executive Director of Admission. I'm actually responsible for the Central Texas Regional Office of Austin College, though I'm at the campus a lot under normal circumstances. And I'm also responsible for most of the Western United States, the Rocky Mountain states and the West Coast. The thing about my career is it's been a little bit unusual. I've gone the opposite way from most people. I'm in my 6th year with Austin College, but most of my career was actually on the other side of college admissions. I was with a private high school in Austin, Texas for many years, was an English teacher and college advisor. Then I had a career phase as an independent college consultant. In 2015, Austin College offered me a wonderful role as one of the directors. And I jumped at the chance, honestly, because I'd always had extremely high regard for Austin College for a number of reasons. I always wanted to see things from the other side of the desk, and I knew that I matched up very well in terms of my outlook and values and view of education with Austin College. So made sort of a late career move to the college side, and it's really been a wonderful thing to do. Austin College, just a couple of general things. It's an extremely unassuming place, unpretentious place, with consistent excellence in all the different dimensions of the experience and measurable success. If you're not familiar with it, Austin College might not be your image of a private college in the Southern United States, and you'll probably pick up as I go along why I think that's the case. A few basic things The college is located in Sherman, Texas, which is about half an hour north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, in Northeast Texas. It's about exactly an hour from the center of Dallas, Texas. So it's in a small city that's relatively close to a major metropolitan area. It is becoming more suburban practically by the day. It's on a major highway out of Dallas that goes through Plano and Richardson and Allen and McKinney, various other sort of business suburbs that have a lot of business development. So the growth is approaching Sherman very quickly. If it's not already, Sherman will be a suburb of Dallas within the next several years. Um, we're obviously a small national liberal arts college. We're one of 2 CTCL colleges in Texas. We have about 1,300 students. This is pretty characteristic of CTCL colleges, about 15 students in a class. The education is extremely interactive. We practically never have a class that's all lecture with no interaction. Even our largest classes, which may get into the 40s in numbers, have a lot of question and answer, debate, student, professor, debate, student, student, a lot of interaction. We are a residential educational institution. Over 80% of our students live on campus. Students are required to live on campus for 3 years unless they're from the immediate area. And half the seniors choose to live on campus because the housing is really good and the food's really good, actually. And of course, the campus is the hub of life at Austin College. Austin College is truly undergraduate focused, which you would probably say about most CTCL colleges. We have only one very, very small graduate program. It involves 20 students a year. It's a master's in teaching program. It's really designed to enable Austin College students who want to go into teaching to take an additional year and get another credential and get a lot more valuable experience. It's not a big education program that brings in students who graduated from other colleges. That's our only graduate program. So out of about 1,320 students are graduate students. We have been part of the CTCL program since the very beginning. Austin College was included in the first edition of Lauren Pope's book. We still love what Lauren Pope said about Austin College. We still use it in our marketing a little bit. And we've been an active participant in the CTCL activities and events ever since the group of colleges went from an informal group of colleagues to a formalized organization. Okay, so that's it for the things you would find out if you just opened a guidebook or something. I want to talk about distinctive aspects of Austin College. And again, I'm going to try to be relatively concise. When you have a question about anything I'm saying, please tell me. Please let me know. Seeing a couple already. Yes, popular majors at Austin College and engineering at Austin College. I will get to both of those questions momentarily. All right, so distinctive aspects. Austin College is unusually diverse by any measure of diversity. In terms of race, we're over 50% non-white. That's increased steadily over the years. And socioeconomic diversity, cultural background, religious background, political preference, entertainment preference. We have a lot of everybody, but it melds into a wonderful community, campus community, which is really my favorite thing about the college and was one of my favorite things before I started working there. We have an extremely high graduation rate, typically about 95% of our students, unless they transfer out or something, 95% of our students graduate in 4 years or fewer. There are a lot of reasons for that. Great advising. We have a mentor system in which you have a mentor professor literally before classes start your first year. And you can keep the same mentor for 4 years, no matter what you major in. You'll of course have an advisor from your major. We have outstanding pre-professional advising. We have students who go on to law school, medical school, engineering, graduate programs, divinity school, lots of different things. We have great support for them. So there are different layers of support that you will experience at Austin College that will keep you on track. Um, Austin College isn't a place where when you need a certain course in your sequence, it's full or doesn't, or it's not happening that year. And really, though, it's the advising and mentoring that keeps students on track, even if they change their major, even if they add a second major, which is very common at Austin College. We have an unusually large number of students who double major. They still graduate in 4 years. Last year, we decided to formalize the 4-year thing. We created a finishing 4 guarantee. So if you do your part over 4 years and at the end of that time, you still need a few credits for some reason to graduate, Austin College will pick up the tab. Austin College will pay for the additional credits that you need to graduate. Another distinctive thing about the college. We have great strength across the academic spectrum. We have an unusual amount of interest in sciences. Close to half of our students come in thinking they're going to major in some area of the sciences. That percentage drops a little bit as they go through college, not necessarily because they aren't good at it, but they discover other interests or interests change. But we have a very large interest in sciences in general, and majors like biology and psychology and computer science are usually among our most popular 5 or 6. Along with, since you asked the question, communications, and if you combine our 5 different undergraduate business majors into one, they would be in that business would be in the top 5 also. Most years biology is actually our most popular major, and I'll get back to why. And I will talk about the engineering pathways. So we have strength across the academic spectrum. We have, as I said, strong interest in sciences. We have a tremendous science facility. Let me show you a picture if I can. Bear with me for just a second. Sorry. There it is. Sorry, it looks like I lost the screen sharing. Here we go. There it is. Okay, so that's the Idea Center. It's our largest and academic facility, magnificent, and it includes, among other things, an observatory. Actually, the 3rd largest research observatory in Texas. You can see it right there, just to the left of the entrance to the building. It enables our physics major to have essentially an astrophysics major if they want that pathway. And it has interesting benefits for the whole Austin College community. All right. So in terms of engineering, we offer 3 different possibilities. Like a lot of national liberal arts colleges, we have a good 3-2 pathway. 3 years with us. During that time, you'll be prepared in terms of foundation academic courses and also in terms of advising to move over to an engineering university for 2 more years. After 5 years, you get 2 degrees. The 3-2 pathway enables you to have basically any upper division engineering major that you want. Our original partner universities for that program were Washington University in St. Louis and Columbia University in New York. We've added quite a number. So a lot of opportunities for students who do want the 5-year experience, who want to have the upper division engineering major and the choice of all the possibilities within the constellation of engineering. But you also get the full comprehensive liberal arts education in the 3 years with us. We also have prearranged relationships for a 4-2 pathway, 4 years at Austin College. You graduate, you move on to 2 more years at an engineering university, same sort of set of options, a little bit even fuller education, 2 degrees, but it takes 6 years. However, In recent years, we've created an engineering physics major, which has proved to be popular and a big success. It's within the physics department, obviously. And so we do have one 4-year engineering major for students who want to graduate in 4 years and want to stay with us for the whole 4 years. And if you're interested, if you have more questions about that, just put something in the Q&A, leave it there for me, and I'll connect you with someone who will give you a lot more perspective. I really appreciate the questions coming in. Let me just mention a little bit more about academics, and then I'll come back to the questions. Austin College has a long record of great success with medical schools, to the extent that sometimes the college is jokingly referred to as Dr. U. Every year, 80 to 90% or more, actually, some years of our pre-meds are accepted to medical school. And that's not a filtered statistic. That's not just the students who get the formal recommendation. That's everyone who applies to medical school. We also have students who seek other healthcare pathways. We have a lot of those. So that's one reason why biology is the most popular major most years. Although we also have students who simply go on and do graduate school, do research in biology because they love biology. That is probably the thing that most people have heard about us. When I started doing admission for Austin College, it wasn't unusual to run into somebody at a college fair or something, some parent who would say, oh yeah, my cousin's doctor went to Austin College, or my neighbor's doctor, or something like that. So that is something we're particularly known for. Our majors and minors range from the sort of traditional favorites, the ones you would expect a liberal arts college to have and be strong in: English, history, psychology, the biology, chemistry, physics, philosophy, foreign languages, to some pretty distinctive ones for a school of our type. We have majors in cognitive science and Western intellectual student, data science and analytics. We have a minor in accounting because that serves the needs of our business students extremely well. That's a pretty unusual thing for a small private liberal arts college to have. So we've got a wide range of things that are all extremely well done and well taught. We were the first college in Texas with a philosophy, politics, and economics major. And we have very strong fine arts majors that are also very popular. An unusually large music program for a college of our size, all kinds of ensembles up to and including our own chamber group. And for some reason, I actually never heard the story of how this got going. For quite a while, Sherman, Texas, small city that it is, has had a full symphony, and Austin College has partnered with that. So some of our undergraduate musicians get to play in a full city symphony every year. So unusual opportunity. Okay, let's take a look at the questions. They seem to be piling up. I'll try to speak more loudly. I don't know what the problem is with the volume. Someone said it's difficult to hear me. But anyway, that may just be me. I'm a little bit hoarse, and I'll try to just turn up my own volume if I can. If you're still not hearing me, please get something into the Q&A. There's a question about campus life, what there is to do for fun. I'll get to that toward the end. There's also a question about a private study area for students. Yes, the different residence halls have private study areas, and there's a 24-hour quiet study room connected to the library. So there's opportunity and lots of different study carrels and so forth. We have a large library with a lot of facilities. Simply, if students want to get away from the room and study in a quiet study environment, there are all kinds of possibilities there. Question about whether admission is need blind. Yes, it is. It is need blind. Another question, do you meet 100% of demonstrated need? And the answer there is almost. And it's a little bit, probably ought to get you to email me and I'll go into that a little bit more. But almost. I'll talk about financial aid toward the end of the session. And a question generally about residential life. And I'll talk about that as part of the presentation. Please let me know how the volume is going. And I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit quiet. Okay, so and a very important thing about Austin College, and very distinctive, is there's a core value of connecting your academic and intellectual experience with the world beyond the college. So we have a lot of internships, and some of them are in the Sherman area, some of them are in Dallas-Fort Worth, some are a lot farther away. I'll explain how that's possible a little bit in just a moment. So internships are very popular and very important part of our academic and academically related life. Also, we're known for study abroad. Every year, the Institute for International Education puts Austin College in their top 10 colleges in terms of rate of participation. 67 to 70% of our students have an academic experience for credit outside the United States during their career. And there's a particular reason why that's possible. Why that raised so high, one reason among many. I'll get back to that. We also just have a core value of internationalism. We have an unusually large number of internationally related majors. We have various area studies covering different parts of the world. We have not one but two international business options, sort of a more traditional international business major and the techier one called International Economics and Finance. And we even have fellowships for global outreach for overseas service projects. So we'd love for students to have international experience, and a lot of our students do. We actually have a requirement for graduation, an applied learning requirement. There are several different ways students can meet it. When we formalized it a few years ago, it wasn't really controversial because we guessed that over 90% of our students would have met it anyway. But you can meet the applied learning requirement, among other ways, through study abroad or through an academically related internship or through a major research project. And undergraduate research is also a hallmark of Austin College. And we have research going on really across the curriculum. It's not just mainly for the science students. One reason why we're able to have such a high rate of internships, especially full-time internships and study abroad, has to do with their academic calendar. Back in the 1960s, Austin College was one of a number of colleges that developed a 4-1-4 calendar. So we have traditional fall and spring semesters, each with a normal course load of 4 courses. In between, fitting into the month of January, we have a 3.5-week 1-credit term. Students are required to do it 3 of their 4 Januaries. We call it January term or JanTerm, as you would guess. There are 3 large categories of endeavor for January term. You can take a course on campus, and there's a long list of courses. The courses tend to be a little bit more experimental, often more interdisciplinary. They'll try to do different things than would be possible during the long semester. One of my favorites was that a few years ago, a group of non-theater majors in a class of non-theater majors planned, cast, rehearsed, and staged a full production of the musical Cabaret in 3.5 weeks. A lot of things are possible if you can focus on one thing, and that's what January term does. We also have courses taught by Austin College professors away from campus. We often have courses that meet in New York City. We have courses that meet outside the United States. Course in London has been popular for a while. We have classical civilization courses, JanTerm courses that meet in Greece or Rome. And our environmental science professors have done field study courses in all kinds of interesting places. A couple of years ago, there was a JanTerm environmental science course in Panama. There have been courses in Hawaii and other places. So Since you're not tied to the campus, it's the one thing you're doing, your class could conceivably meet anywhere. Plus, it's pretty easy to set up your own independent study abroad course, credit-bearing course for January term, and we provide a lot of support in doing that. So that's a major reason why we're able to have so much international participation. And also, internships are a great January term activity. They might be as close as Sherman or Dallas Fort Worth, but they could be anywhere. You're not tied to the campus. It's the one thing you're doing. So a student interested in political science might have an internship in Washington, D.C. during January. Let's see, sorry, moving on. We have great results in terms of postgraduate pathways for our students. Over 90% of our graduates are either in graduate or professional school or in a job related to their academic emphasis at Austin College within a year of graduation. Of our students who seek to be employed during the first year after graduation, it's about 3/4 in jobs that are actually related to their academic program. There's nothing wrong with making coffee for people, but most of our graduates aren't actually out there doing in jobs like that. Let me check the questions. Okay, good question about Greek life at Austin College. We do offer it. If you want a major league sorority fraternity system, you're probably not going to be interested in Austin College, but we do have a sorority fraternity system. About 20% of our students are engaged in it. There's plenty of fun stuff involved with it, but there's also a good service component. So we have it, but it's not dominant the way it is at some other private colleges and universities. It is an option. Question about ballet. We really don't have a ballet program. We do not have a dance major. Dance is mostly an extracurricular activity at Austin College. We do have a dance team, but we don't have serious dance major. Definitely do not have a ballet program at Austin College. Okay, a question about the 4-2 engineering pathway. The same original partner schools, Washington University and Columbia University, are our partners with that, but we have a lot of students, because of our location in Texas, we have students who want to remain in or near Texas, so various universities partner with us for 3-2 and 4-2, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, for example. Okay, the 2 degrees for the 3-2 program are the BA from Austin College and the BS from an engineering university. For 4-2, it's a little more variable. You would definitely get a bachelor's from Austin College, but you might get a master's in the 4-2 framework. Okay, question about engineering physics major. This is probably one where we ought to communicate in more depth, and I actually can put you in touch with the head of the physics department, get you really a lot of information about that program. It's a strong program and very successful. I mean, in all of our majors, it's possible specialization is possible. As I said, within physics, you can practically create an astrophysics major if you choose. So you're going to have a lot of options, and you also get a lot of advising. You can even actually create your own major at Austin College because of the mentor system. You'll have someone all through your 4 years to help you design your major and get it approved. That's actually how the philosophy, politics, and economics major was created at Austin College. A student wanted it a number of years ago. We didn't have it, and at first it was a one student major, but it grew into one that's on our list. Creative writing, you can specialize in within the English major. You would be an English major, but we definitely have a lot of students interested in creative writing, and it's very, very strong. All right, now let me, lots of great questions. I really appreciate it. Okay. Question about the cost of study abroad. And that's another reason why we're able to have the participation that we have. We do our best to keep the cost of international study in line with what you would pay if you were studying on our campus. Yes, financial aid and scholarships will follow you in study abroad. So, you know, there are obviously going to be some discretionary expenses or possible some travel expenses, but we try to keep it consistent with what you would pay normally. Um, okay, so I'm told that the volume got better when I spoke up. Thank you for that. Appreciate it very much. Um, all right, so there's a question about outside scholarships in the financial aid package. I'm going to come back to this when I get to the funding portion, and I want to move along. Okay. Question about learning differences and mental health. Um, we have a wonderful academic support program. Dr. Laura Ramsey is I think, one of the best people in working with learning differences among Texas colleges. So we are a good place for a motivated student with learning differences. Mental health is obviously crucially important. We have a full-time counselor in the health center. Okay, sorry, I'm hurrying a little bit. Is engineering the only major that has an established graduate program? Now, keep in mind, the graduate program in engineering is not at Austin College. It is through partnerships with universities. And we have great advising for graduate programs all over the academic map. So we have students who do graduate school in lots of different areas, and graduate school placements a strength. If you have particular interest, please contact me, and I'll give you full information. Question about dual credit from Florida. We accept accredited dual credit from all over the country. That's not a problem. Okay. A question about veterinary. We do have students become veterinarians, but as you probably know, there are a finite number of vet schools in the United States. It's very difficult to have a vet school approved in the United States. So at some point, you're going to move over to the university that has the veterinary school. We do have good pre-healthcare advising in general, including advising for students who want to become vets. So we have produced vets, but we definitely do not have our own vet school. Okay, I need to get to the application process for that. Thank you for that little nudge. All right, admissions and financial aid. I should also mention, campus life is very active and vibrant. We've got over 70 different activities in different organizations on campus. Everything from big ones that you would expect to small ones, like we have a lake campus on Lake Texoma. So, in fact, here's just an image of it. If I can get this to work. Well, it's a pretty small image, but anyway, we have a 30-acre campus on Lake Texoma. And many years ago, a student who loved to fish recruited students who got involved, and it became a formal organization, the AC Anglers. So we've got lots of possibilities. Image of a couple of our classical musicians. All right, we have, by the way, we do play intercollegiate sports, NCAA Division III, non-scholarship level. We are competitive. This past year, we were the conference champions in women's basketball, went into the NCAA tournament in women's basketball. Lots of our sports are competitive, 9 women's and 9 men's. A couple of years ago, Austin College became the first college in Texas to have full intercollegiate water polo. It's been a big success. Obviously, all of our full intercollegiate rivals are outside the state. There are some club teams in Texas that we can play, but it's worked out very well. Distinctive thing. Okay, for admission, we have 4 deadlines. November 1st, which is early decision and binding. We do not push that. You do not need to use that as a strategy. We then have 2 early action deadlines, December 1st and February 1st. We do encourage those. They're not binding, and they are our priority scholarship deadlines for the largest possible academic scholarship. We'll get back to that momentarily. Um, we use three different applications: the common application, the coalition application, and for students who are focusing on Texas colleges and universities, we also use Apply Texas. We treat them all equally. We don't have a favorite or a secret favorite. We require an essay from whichever application you choose. My advice there is don't worry too much about the prompt. Make sure that you are writing the essay that you want to write. Express yourself. Think about what makes you a little bit different from other people and write about that. Any format you want, any perspective you want, whether it's an experience or an interest or even a quirk. Make it genuine. We are truly holistic admission, and we are really bringing in students to form a community. So we're not just looking at academic credentials. We are very interested in you, the person, what you say about yourself, what others say about you. We do require 2 recommendations, 1 teacher recommendation, 1 counselor recommendation. Of course, we require a school transcript, academic record. But for 4 years, we've been test optional. We were test optional well before a lot of colleges headed that way because of the COVID circumstance. And we have no bias. We admit students without scores at the same rate that we do students with scores. If you have any questions about how the test optional process works, let us know. We were the first college in Texas to be test optional. Okay, and so talking about funding, we've got about 10 more minutes, maybe 9 or 8. We work hard to keep costs from keeping people out. In fact, if you combine Austin College's own budgets for merit scholarships and need-based financial aid, that would become the single largest budget line item at Austin College. If you complete your admission file, your application file for Austin College, you have automatically applied for an academic scholarship, and we offer those to the vast majority of students whom we accept. Those scholarships are very large. Academic scholarships range from $18,000 to $29,000 per year, automatically renewed for the 4 years. We have various other merit scholarships, art, music, theater, lots of other areas. There's a full list on our website under admission and aid. If you have any questions, let us know. So we do a lot on the merit side. We also do a tremendous amount on the need-based side. Our need-based aid process always begins with the FAFSA, which if you're a first-year applicant, you can do after October 1st of senior year. Your schools will have lots of information about the FAFSA, but we also then have quite a number of students who do appeals after consulting with our financial aid office, which is very user-friendly. So if your family financial circumstance isn't adequately represented by the FAFSA information, let us know. And our financial aid office will tell you whether or not it seems like an appeal is warranted. We do have a lot of students who appeal successfully. So we do a tremendous amount to keep costs from keeping people out. We get great socioeconomic diversity. We're not a private college that has a large cluster of very advantaged students and a cluster of disadvantaged students and not much in between. We have a lot of everybody, and it's partly because of our commitment to helping with the funding. We can be competitive with state universities, which is sort of a necessity if you're a college in Texas. We can be competitive in terms of the out-of-pocket cost for your family, even with state universities. So please don't rule us out if you see the sticker price. Okay. In the application process, genuine is the most important thing. We emphasize authenticity. We're really, as I already said, getting to know the whole person in making admission decisions. So please keep that in mind as you don't worry too much about being impressive. Be yourself. All right. So now let's see other questions. Covered the test optional, at least introduction to it. Application process. Lots of questions about test optional. All right. Question about talent-based scholarships. That's especially in fine arts. There's a good bit of information on our website. If you have any questions, contact us. And I'm going to put my email address here in an answer to everybody. I think that went to everyone. Okay, housing. That's a good question to ask. We have quite a variety of housing since we have so many students living on campus. We have a lot of rooms and a lot of buildings, a lot of options. Almost all first-year students live in a double room with a roommate. That's almost universally true. And after that, the variety increases substantially. Second-year students often apply to live in a suite with 3 friends, separate bedroom for each person, bathroom for the suite, common living area, and then eventually most people end up in apartment cluster housing. We have a lot of that, kind of in a big ring around the outer edge of the campus. Should point out the campus is large but compact. You never have more than about a 15-minute walk from one end to the other, which is not universally the case in American higher ed. The apartments are large, spacious, well, just they're nice. You can choose to opt out of the meal plan if you're in one of the apartments. You can even control how much your utility bills are. So anyway, they're a great option, and we're actually building yet another apartment residence hall as we speak. Okay, I kind of hurried toward the end. What did I not cover? Still got a couple more minutes. Love to know what question I didn't answer. And I'm sorry about my voice and the hoarseness. Well, you're welcome. Someone thanked me. A question about food. That's a good thing to ask about. It's good and it's varied. I like it. And I'm not saying that to be a car salesman. I really do like the food, and there is significant variety for a college with the number of students that we have. We have 3 different places where you can eat on campus. The main dining room is very large and has a lot of different stations for different types of food. For example, and I'm probably going to leave something out, but there's a hot food line, there's a burger line, there's a burrito line, there's a pizza line, there's a make a sandwich for you station. There is a separate station for vegetarian entrees. There's a soup station, there's a salad bar, and again, I'm probably leaving something out. Vegetarians and vegans eat very well at Austin College. I was a counselor for a long time. I had a lot of vegetarian students come back and say, at my college, I eat pasta and marinara sauce and French fries every day. You don't have to live like that at Austin College. There are 2 different veggie entrees at every meal, a lot of curries and stir fries and different things. And then lots of sort of vegetarian side dishes and dips, hummus, things like that. Great salad bar. And we're also really good at accommodating special dietary needs, food allergies, and so forth. So food's a strong point. Sometimes I wish that there weren't unlimited free ice cream all the time. That's sort of my downfall, but that's my only complaint. Good question. What kind of student thrives at Austin College? This might be the last question I can address during the session. It's a great question. We have a tremendous amount of variety. I get questions sometimes about politics, political preferences at Austin College. I would guess that if 1 were the most conservative and 10 was most liberal, our students would land on average at about 6 or 7. So maybe a majority of students kind of leaning toward liberal, but we've got a lot of everybody. Very good sort of campus discussion, very healthy and supportive of each other. The young Republicans and young Democrats often collaborate on things, which is nice. I wish that happened in other spheres. Students, tend to be participators, but serious. They know why they're in college. They have fun, but they know why they're in college. They get their work done. They're motivated. They have lots of different intellectual interests. So I can't give you too much. Obviously, there's a lot of science interests, but there's a lot of everything else. Um, I'd say it's people, if you want a major league, ambitious social industry, we may not be your place, but there's plenty of fun to be had. And you don't need to, we're close to Dallas, but you really don't have to run off to Dallas to have fun. Sometimes students do. There are lots of great opportunities associated with the Metroplex, but anyway, I think my moderator's coming back on, so I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful. Appreciate the questions.
Thanks so much, Hank, for sharing this information, and students and counselors, thank you for tuning in. Hank will receive a transcript of all the questions, so if he did not get to them during this session, he can follow up with you directly as well. As you close this box, a very quick 4-question survey will show up, so we do ask for your feedback. We encourage you to sign up for the additional CTCL sessions at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.